Hey, welcome to Friday morning, folks. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa with your MLive morning weather update. And I'll tell you what, we've had a quiet weather pattern, but now we've got a lot to talk about. Some of it is kind of on the springy type side, and some of it's on the wintry side. And it has to happen. We have to get back into winter at some point, and it looks like we're going to do that. So, what are we talking about on this Friday? Hey, first off, it's Friday, right? There is a little bit of freezing drizzle and light snow scattered about the state. Less than an inch of accumulation. The freezing drizzle is just a slight coating here and there. It's enough to make things tricky in some spots. So be careful and kind of take it a little slower on this Friday if you're going to be out and about. Still a what I would call a pretty big 2-day warm up for early February. We're talking 45 to 50 degrees in the southern half of lower Michigan 2 days in a row in the first week of February. That's pretty significant. Patty Thomas, yes, Friday and last day of the month. Cheers and beers, says Matt Krasinski from Battle Creek. Sounds good to me. Hey, good morning, Sandy Street. And Cheryl Pell, cloudy, cool Florida. We're working on our 8th day in a lot of places without any sunshine. And next week, the storm pattern is changing. I wrote about that on MLive, and it does look like we will see some snow perhaps next week. All right, so here's your current radar. And the radar, whoa, that's not what I wanted to do. Here's your current radar. And it shows you the patches of light snow around. Where you see the light blues, that's usually been snow. And where you see the grays, you have to look kind of close. That's patchy freezing drizzle. So there's a good chunk of the state that has some light precipitation going on right now. All right, let's go into the weekend. We still have our sneaky little snow on the way for tomorrow. Not a big deal. I'll show that to you, and let's get to it here. This is the model that I like for this kind of situation. Chris Daniels says, please snow. I think you'll get your wish in February. And some people might get more than what they wish for. Okay, so let's see. We go into Saturday. Okay, so that's Saturday right there. And that's the little wave passing through with snow, maybe mixed with rain. Give you a closer look in a second here. Then there's our warming trend. That's Sunday, and that's Monday. And notice the cool air oozes south into Michigan and puts us on that dividing line. And then as we go into Wednesday, the waves of storminess that are out in the Pacific start to head our way. We'll likely be on the cold side of the storms when they come through. This is next Friday. So a series of storm systems, and this model here tends to indicate that we'll start to get gradually colder to actually a real wintertime type of pattern. Imagine that. So here's our short-term radar forecast, what we call the high resolution rapid refresh. Runs every hour, and it only goes out 18 to 36 hours, depending on what time it's run. But what you're seeing today is you're just seeing patches of light snow, light freezing drizzle. Be careful with that. Then we go to a little closer of a look at tomorrow and beyond. Okay. Hey, good morning, Lori Hoadley from the UP. And Julie Westmoss. Yeah, that was an interesting situation there. Flying from Florida to GR Saturday. Hope for okay weather. Cheryl Pell, I don't think it's something that stops flights in Grand Rapids. All right, so we are at 7 o'clock Saturday morning, then 1 o'clock, and then 7 o'clock again. So it's a late morning into afternoon, early evening type weather situation. And you can see even in the southern third, I-94 southward, it's more likely leaning toward rain now. A little mixture of rain and snow, and then snow to the north. That moves on. We get into our warming trend Sunday into Monday. Good morning, David Willis. Terry Gregory. Why be such a Debbie Downer? Not 90% of all forecasts are wrong. Guess what? 90% are right. Dang good. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we go into Wednesday. And that's when all models are showing our next situation coming through. So if you're traveling Saturday, today, I'd keep an eye on the roads, definitely, and keep it a little on the slower side. Don't barrel down the highway in case you run into one of these patches where the freezing drizzle has changed the road conditions substantially. And then Sunday and Monday look like great travel weather. And then we start to get colder, start to turn a little bit more on the stormy side. As far as snowfall goes for this weather system coming through tomorrow, 1 or 2 inches, northern half of lower Michigan, less than an inch in the southern half of lower Michigan. And let's go out into next week and show you what this model, the European, does. It does several inches of snow. The US model, although I don't trust it, also does several inches of snow, does a couple of inches more than the European. So point being is that Wednesday or so, we could be looking at our first widespread accumulating snow in a while. Here are the high temperatures today. We're about 32-ish. And then let's see, we go to, now you know what, Maxine Wolf, if most forecasts are wrong, why are you watching? You're wasting your time. Figure it out yourself, right? Okay, so Saturday, we're looking at temperatures mid to upper 30s. Sunday, we're looking at 40s to maybe near 50 near the border. And Monday, the cold starts to come in the north, but the warmth hangs on in the south, 45 to 50 degrees. That's 2 days in historically one of the coldest weeks of the year. And then as we get into Tuesday, we start to turn colder, and Wednesday we start to turn a little colder, and Thursday also. So we're going to be backing down onto the cold side of that storm system, cold side of the jet stream by the time we get to the middle to end of next week. Might not be a real barreling of Arctic air coming in. Why? Because we have all those storms out in the Pacific that I showed you. All those storms are going to drop into the southwest part of the country, and as that cold air drops in the southwest part of the country, the warmth will try to stall the cold. That does two things. We could still get on the cold side of the jet stream, 25 to 28 to 30 degrees, but it'll shoot pieces of that storm system out. We'd be on the cold side, and that's where we would get accumulating snow maybe every 3 or 4 days. Now, when you get something like that on frequency, you don't tend to get mega snows. You have to have one whole storm system come out of the southwest, and whichever final piece of that is, if it's still in February, which it probably will be, that would be when we would have our chance for our biggest snowfall, except for the Veterans Day snowstorm. Flying out of Flint on Thursday next week. Flight delays, Rowan, Everly. Still, that's kind of far out in this changing weather pattern. I would keep an eye on it. The way things look right now, that would be a day where we're not into the weather. This is weird snow sleet. We are getting in North Muskegon. Yeah, a lot of folks are reporting that it's going back and forth. Freezing drizzle, then it's a little sleety, then light snow. Just on the borderline. Good morning, David Rowe. Lindsay Obey says she either needs sunshine or a big snowfall. One or the other. How about both? If you can do better weather forecasting, then start your own weather channel. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. You know, a lot of people get hung up on the exact details. And a weather forecast is not perfect. Yes, we're a couple of degrees off most days. You get to 4 or 5 days out, we're 4 or 5 degrees out. But you wouldn't know what would be coming 5 days from now without the modeling and the advancements in meteorology. Because 5 days from now, in February, you know, it could be 60 or it could be 25 below. The weather varies that wildly in the U.S. at this time of the year. So there you have it. Hey, it's Friday, so I'm going to get you a couple of posts about information. I'm going to be talking about all the moons this year, and we also had an image of the sun that we've never seen before. That was just stellar. I'll talk a little bit about weather too, but really it looks like next week is when the weather gets busy. Have yourselves a great weekend. Thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. I'm Chief Meteorologist